Sorry
Sorry
about
about
that.
that. I don't know what happened. I honestly don't. Oh, I know what happened. I was sending you a link like for the community tab.
Oh my god. And I turned off my phone, I restarted it the whole thing, I checked my internet. I kept on going like, what is wrong with this phone today? Oh my god.
Well, what happens when you're live? It won't let me go back and send an invite link.
Oh, got ya. Okay. Well, we're
So
here.
every time I was trying to send a link, whatever. Okay. So Miss Nexie, welcome to the sip and chat.
Again, thank you. Let's welcome Miss Marlene again to the Sip and Chat in one day. Two in one day.
Two for one. You get two for one.
I mean, if that's not a deal, what is,
That's a
right?
deal. I feel like that's a good deal, and it's free. Two for one.
Two crazies for the price of one.
Two crazies for the price of one. So Miss Nexie.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
What am I sipping on? Oh, Miss
Yes.
Marlene, what are you sipping on?
So, I know I'm not supposed to say. Don't tell my personal trainer, Miss Nexie. Are you listening?
I am not going to. I
Okay.
promise.
So my personal trainer says no soda, no juice. But guess what? I never stopped.
Okay, he or she will never know because these lives they stay hidden forever.
Oh yeah, because nobody can see this on whole
Nobody.
social media.
That stays just between us and billions of people in the world. Well, me, just good old water. See this?
Ooh, water.
That's all I got for you
Get your
today.
quench on, Miss Nexie.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
And I
Oh.
had to let me tell you, I had to move rooms because
Mhm.
my Warris is been acting out today. So I had to move to
Gotcha.
my daughter-in-law's son room because that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
just put up the tree, so I wanted to show it to you. Isn't it
Yes.
beautiful?
Very, very beautiful. Very, very
It's
beautiful.
Christmas crazy.
Thank you so much for sharing that with all of the loved ones, the loved fam. So, Miss Nexie, you saw the title. We were
Yes, I
talking about
did.
it a little bit. Today's title, we're talking about backstabbers and cheaters, right?
Oof. Wow.
Okay. And, I thought, talking about two is better than one because I was just going to talk about backstabbers. And then I was like, backstabbers go with cheaters. So let's talk about both. So, yeah.
It's
So
actually
here we
that the
are.
combination is I mean, if you think about it, if somebody cheats on you, that's pretty much,
Mhm.
like a backstabbing. It hurts as much because
Yes.
whoever does it, especially who does it to you, if it's a friend who cheats on you with
Mhm.
another friend that
Mhm.
you probably don't like, and this person is bringing all the scoop to that other person, and it can be a combination of things. If it's someone you're dating, that's devastating too because you trust them, and the act of cheating on itself is pretty much, if you think about it, it's pretty much like a backstab. They don't It's hard for me to explain this and talk about this without getting upset
Mhm.
because it happened to me, and it's so damaging to whoever they do these things to. I From experience I can tell you it scars you for life, to the point in where you're so scared of feeling that pain all over again, or going through that depression, or going through those emotions, that you rather stay single for the rest of your life after that.
Mhm.
those are the repercussions of when
Yeah.
somebody backstabs you or somebody cheats on you, which they're pretty much the same. They
Yeah.
hurt as much.
Yeah, they're pretty, and it doesn't matter how many years pass by. It's like when you start thinking about it, like I like clench my fist.
Yes. And my jaw gets really tight, and
You know,
I just want to go back to what mom said. I just want to put him underwater for like 40 minutes. I'm
just
sorry. She said 40 seconds, right?
yeah, yeah, just you know. See, mom said that, but I would say just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I will say 40 minutes is a good time.
Yeah,
They'll
just
be fine.
you know, don't let them go all the way to death's door, but almost, almost,
Just almost to the dark side. Yeah, just
almost like right before it's the time you're like, okay,
aha! You're not that lucky. You gotta continue living. No, but
just just because
fun
I'm healed,
aside.
just because I'm healed, Miss
Yeah,
Nexie.
me
That's
too.
all.
Exactly, exactly. Because we're healed, and doesn't mean that we have forgotten or that we don't have the scars from what happened. What it means
Mhm,
is that we have healed to the point of joking about it and not crying in
mhm,
return. We're laughing. So people don't understand this. I know that there's a lot of both sexes, because we cannot just say men do this, women don't. No, 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 no. It's always been both. That
mm,
they get that, some gender more than the other get caught. That's different. We're more clever.
mhm.
I mean,
Me- Man,
man,
I
I
think
got
there's
this cough.
something in my throat.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I just thought about what I just said. Whew, revealing all my secrets. No, but that's the one thing I always I don't know. For me, is if maybe because I'm a very how can I put it? I'm a very open minded and rational person. And
Mhm,
I don't say this because that's the title I give in myself, is the title that even my therapist sometimes gets amazed and says, "You're so rational. Certain things that you shouldn't. You just, rationalize them the way they're supposed to be." And
mhm,
it's a choice that we have to make. But maybe because I'm this type of person, for me, if you're to the verge of cheating, that means you don't love your partner anymore. When those
mhm.
people say, I know I cheated, but I love my wife. I know I cheated, but I love my husband. No, you don't.
Yeah.
If you love that person, cheating is far away from your mind.
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
been
oh, oh,
selfish.
Miss Nexie, but I do have to get into this point. Now, y'all, man, my male chat family don't hate me for this. I'm just saying what it is, okay? Because what I hear all the time is that men can cheat, and it has nothing to do with, it's just an act, okay?
Mm.
It's there's no emotional attachment. I don't care. I don't care about the person that I was with. It's just something I just needed it, and that's it.
Mhm. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, that's not gonna fly with me.
Yeah, it's like I don't care. There's no feeling. There's emotion, and I do believe that there's some truth to that because women and men deal with things differently. But you can't say that it's a women and men thing because there are some people like you and I, Miss Nexie, that we're more rational.
Mhm.
It's like I'm more like, okay, how am I benefiting from this? And
You know what, Miss Marlene? But thinking, the way I think is, and thinking about this topic now that we're speaking on, people that cheat on their spouses or their,
Mhm,
boyfriend, girlfriends, whatever. But for me, seeing what's out there, and I've been alone for a very long time. And I mean single for a very long time. And I'm not alone because my house is always full of people, but
mhm,
single
yeah.
for a very long time. For me, when looking at what's out there right now, to date or even think of, it's a waste of my time. I'm not saying there is
Mhm.
not good people out there, because there are some very amazing love stories from friends that have gotten,
Mhm.
separated and divorced, and they have found these amazing guys. But I guess the scars that I have continue to remind me, right? Yeah, but no. So
Yeah,
even
but
though
no.
we're healed,
Mhm.
for me, it will be a waste of time. I love my life. I love the fact that um I don't have to worry about somebody doing that to me again. I
Yeah,
don't
you're
have to
free.
worry about if I want to spend time with my kids all day, every day. It's nobody's business but mine.
Mhm.
If I want to go out, if I want to stay in my PJs all day, it's nobody's business but mine.
But yours. Mhm.
Exactly. And the peace of mind that I get from it. Now, marriage is beautiful. Relationships are beautiful.
Mhm.
They're just, after what happened to me, they're just not for me. That's what
I
I
understand.
discovered.
I
And I
get it.
say it, I'm sorry, Miss Marlene, go ahead.
No, I was just welcoming Flurk. Hey,
Hi,
Flurk.
Flurg.
And he was asking, is that
Flurg.
your
I just want
tree?
to go on.
He was asking if that's your tree.
It's, yeah, it's in my house. It's my daughter-in-law's. Oh yeah, my son's my son's too. Yeah, it's my beautiful daughter-in-law's tree. I'm in her
Yeah,
room right now.
next thing, no, 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 go back. You said it right the first time. It's your daughter-in-law.
It's my baby girl's tree. She's so talented, and she's Christmas crazy. That's what I've been calling her. As of
Mhm,
late, which that used to be me, by the way. I was Christmas crazy. But
mhm.
I got busy, and then the pandemic, and I forgot that I was Christmas crazy, but I'm getting back into the groove. Not yet. But anyway, going back to our topic. Um, you know, uh, people say that there's no feelings involved when you do these things, right? Oh, it was just sex, right? Nothing. But you know what? To get to the point where you do the sex part, there has to be some type of talk and relationship
Mhm,
and discussion. That
mhm,
that on itself is feelings involved. Because if it was just the sex part and you had no feelings, I will understand with somebody that does this for a living, right? The that does this type of sex work for a living. Yeah, there's no feelings involved there. It's a transaction. But when you go out of your way to bet someone, coworker,
yep,
friend or foe, whatever it is that you do, a relationship has to form through the
yep,
process of getting to betting this person. So there's no
mhm,
feelings involved. Yes, they were. You had
yeah,
feelings, you had urges, you had whatever. You talked to this person to the point of getting into the same bed together. So regardless of whether they were romantic feelings or not, they were feelings of some sort, or you wouldn't ended up where you ended up in.
right.
That's
And
the way I think.
Miss Nexie, we ain't going into that. I'm glad you segued into that, but I also think that a lot of people don't understand that there are different forms of cheating. Cheating does not always have to be sexual. For
Hmm.
me, a person having an emotional cheating, like you're in a relationship with them and they're always talking to somebody of the opposite sex on the phone about deep things,
Mm,
and for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys aren't doing anything, but for me, it's only a matter of time
yep.
before if an opportunity presents itself before that will happen because I'm going to be honest. I'm the sort of person that I am not a person that that goes by the physical attraction first. For me, it's the mental
Yeah.
it's the mental stimulation. It's that their intellectual prowess.
Yeah.
It's their swag. It's
Their
so
beautiful mind, the beautiful
yeah. It's
conversation.
so many things that the intriguing that starts to like start turning the wheels in my
Exactly.
head. Yeah.
Exactly. And again, the thing that for me, I don't, if I get that feeling that I start liking somebody else, or I find this person so attractive. And God, I wonder if I would have ever been in that situation where I find another man more attractive than my ex-husband. Let's say I would have found somebody like that, or I see someone, I said, I'm starting to see people and admire their body, or I wish I could do something with that person. At that point in my head, knowing me, I probably would have realized I don't love my husband anymore. Because when you do love someone, especially, in a marriage, in a serious relationship, I shouldn't say a marriage, because not every relationship, leads to marriage, but there's beautiful relationships, long lasting relationships that don't have to, end in marriage, but they have really beautiful relationships. So let's say a serious relationship. But if I start feeling like towards somebody else the way that I'm describing you, then at that point I will probably say to my significant other, you know what, I don't think we're working out, and I don't think we're going anywhere. Because if I'm start wondering, and if I start having a wondering eye, that means I'm not attracted, or I'm not in love with my partner anymore. Because when you're in love with someone, there's no room in your mind, in your eyes, in your
Mhm.
heart, in your entire body and soul for anybody else.
Yes. Miss Nexie, it's one of those things that I think in every relationship it shifts. Hey, Miss Tamika, how are you? Welcome. Um, when I remember when my mom used to tell me this, and she says a lot of people don't understand. They think a romantic relationship is going to be fiery and hot their whole life, from the time that they're whatever, whenever you meet, until you pass, until you're at the end of your life. The relationship evolves.
Yes.
It grows. It's like in the beginning, you're hot and heavy, and then you're in the kid stage, and then it's like you're the empty nester. It's like you become the 20 something year old or 30 something year old all over again, and then you get to the middle age, and
Mm-hmm.
and then you're just like you're the grandparent, and then you're just hanging out like then you get to the phase where you're like friends. And it was very interesting to see my parents phases, because when my dad got sick, my mom says it's not the romantic feelings that I feel for your father right now. And when she told me that, I was like, that's weird. That's weird. I was like, I don't want to know that. But I'm glad that she told me that, because it's important for us to know that a relationship doesn't always have to be fiery hot like some people think. A relationship is going to have ebbs and flows. Sometimes you're going to be in that stage of it's not going to be sexual. Sometimes it's going to be a friend, and then it'll go back to it. You'll have you'll have the back and forth. So and a lot of people don't know how to stay loyal within the flows and the transitions of a relationship, that sometimes you're just for example, what if a person's experiencing an illness and they're sick? Are you going to be dip out on them and cheat on them because they're sick and you have
Mm-hmm.
your needs? Like for
Mm-hmm.
me, that's like, really, what kind of person are you if you're only going to be loyal to somebody as long as they can satisfy your needs?
As long as they're healthy. And again, we're
Mhm.
going back to this, my way of thinking. I'm not saying that it should be everybody's way of thinking, but I have witnessed several of my, friendships with people and their marriages and stuff, and or their relationships. And um I have seen them forgive, their partner for cheating on them, or neglecting, or whatever. I have seen that happen, and I have seen it work where they have never done anything like that again, right? But I have also seen in the process of my friendships with them that as they go on in that relationship, and now with our children out of the house, I have seen their relationship go back to, at least on one of my friends. The relationship is back as when they were dating. They're like little teenagers. You should see them. It's so beautiful. He has made up so much on what happened, on the mishap he had. and he's worked very hard to, win her trust back. For years he's been doing this, because that probably happened about 15, 20 years ago, but he's been working very hard, and now they're empty nesters and they're having a blast. you
Wow.
know we call him the teenage what is, my friend said something in Spanish the other day, but I cannot translate it, but it's kind of like the 60-year-old teenagers in love. They're traveling, they're having fun, and like if nothing happened. I have the other side of that coin, with my friend and his wife.
Wow.
He messed up, and right now that the kids are
Mhm.
gone, you can see that the love, and that it was more like, okay, I'm gonna forgive you and stay with you because of the kids. It
Oh,
wasn't that I have forgiven you and I want to give us another chance. So I see them going their separate ways. She's doing all these kind of things on her own with her friends, traveling with friends and family, doing all these things separate from him. And
mm,
yeah, they do their occasional dinner with us, and we all get together sometimes and talk for hours. But I see them more
not the
split
same.
up. Yeah, more splitting up in probably the near future.
Oh,
I'm sure. And then you have the other side, which is my side, and it's that I can't forgive that. I'm not gonna waste my
never.
time going on, on my, and I will apologize firsthand to the person that I'm speaking of right now. But my experience was that it was a mishap, but it's something that I cannot forgive. I can forgive, but I cannot forget. And I knew when this happened that the relationship was never, ever, ever
Be the
going
same.
to be the same.
Yeah.
So I took it on myself to say, you know what, I'm sorry, but I don't. I know that it's not gonna work out, because I'm not going to be able to be comfortable with you again. I'm not going to be able to
Mhm.
trust you unconditionally as I used to trust you before.
Yeah.
So the decision to go our separate ways, even though we're great friends now,
Mhm.
it was my decision, because I knew that I was not going to be able to just
Right.
go back to what it was before. So it was
Yeah.
going to be a waste of life for me,
Exactly.
because
I
I know
want
myself.
I wanted to acknowledge a comment in the comment section from Ben. Ben says, cheated on my girlfriend with a girl that I knew was in a relationship. She got off on taking a taken guy. I'm with her now and she's insanely controlling and mean, and I'm stuck with her now.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, man.
Yeah.
So
I
sorry.
don't even know how to respond to that because it's a lot of layers. It's a
It
lot of
is,
layers to that.
and
Mhm.
and it, you can, when I read things like this, and from experiences, living our lives and seeing friends and everybody go through it, um, all I can say is one day you'll be ready to move on and to let go. Nobody can talk you into a relationship or out of one. It's up to you. You have to be ready to let go. You have to be ready to confront what you did. And
Yep.
you have to be ready to start a brand new life without that person. But you have to make sure that there's no feelings there anymore, and that this person is out of your system before you can take that step. At
Right.
least that's what I did.
Right. And Ben, it's no judgments.
No,
There's no
none whatsoever.
judgment
None
over here.
whatsoever.
We don't do that over here. We just it's sometimes things happen, and I know a lot of times that when things like cheating happens, people don't like to talk about that elephant in the room, that communication hasn't been good for a really long time,
Yes.
or that you haven't been spending quality time together. There's a lot of things that lead up to the cheating, and it's only a matter of time before one person says, I can't do this, and either they'll leave, they'll cheat, or something will happen to force them into separation.
Okay, so you've been talking to my therapist? Oh, now you're a therapist? Is that what? So so when I went, I remember I told you, Miss Marlene, and Ben, this is again, Miss Marlene is so right. There's no judgment
Mhm,
here. But when I went to therapy, after my separation and everything, and I told him what he did, and
mhm.
his response 3 sessions in was, "But what was your contribution for this to have happened? What
Oh,
role did you play?" He said, "What role did you play for the outcome of the relationship?" And I was like,
mhm,
you're not listening to me. It's his fault." Really? You're not listening. So it's not just
mhm,
the one that is at fault. It's the
mhm.
couple in a relationship. And
Yep.
I don't like when people say, "Oh my God, she was listening to so and so, and that's why she did this," or "He was listening to his friends, and that's why he cheated." No, I can listen to my
Mhm.
friends talk smack nonsense for a long time. I had heard them say, "Leave him. Why don't you do this?" But it was up to me to take that step and do it. No friend can talk you in to do anything that you don't want.
Nobody. Mhm.
Nobody can do that for you. So, and it takes two in a relationship, in a couple. It's two people. So, for something like that to happen, that means that you have probably dropped the ball somewhere
Yep,
between the relationship.
and Miss Nexie, it's dropping the ball on both sides. There
Yes.
usually is always the person who was the cheater is always the fingers pointed at them. But yes, that part is wrong. But also on the other side, there's other things that happen too, like I hate to say it, but sometimes when people get in relationships, to start off the relationship and they were putting themselves together, looking beautiful or looking very handsome, and then they just let themselves go. They gain weight, they don't take care of themselves anymore. They're not kind, they change their personality because things happen in a relationship. You go through things, you lose loved ones, you have situations that happen in your life, and sometimes it affects people in different ways. Um, and I just wanted to acknowledge that it's not just a person cheats and then it's all their fault. It's on both sides. Did the communication stop? Did you stop spending time together? Did you stop, telling each other how you feel about, when's the last time you were laughing? And there's a lot of things that go into a healthy relationship. And for me, I think it's stop spending quality time together and the communication breakdown, because when communication breaks down, the relationship is over. It's over.
Exactly.
It's over. It's over.
Yes, ma'am. And
Um,
Ben said something here. If I do move on, how in the world will I be able to explain this to a future girlfriend when she asks about my past? For me, anyone that asks about your past is not something that should continue on. I think that every relationship starts when you begin that relationship. What
mhm,
happened in the past with previous or whatever, it has nothing to do with the relationship you're starting. So if somebody continuously is asking you for your past, then you have to watch out. You have to be careful because for me, at least for me, past that's exactly what it is, and it stays there in the past. You're
mhm,
not the same person you were 5 years ago. You're not the same person you were last week. You're not the same person you were yesterday. So every day is a new day, right? We live in the present. So
mhm,
the relationship that you begin with someone, if they're constantly asking you what's wrong, what happened, why this, that is probably not someone that you want to be
mhm.
in a relationship with. Now,
Yep.
if I start a relationship with someone and I have an ex-husband, I have my children, I have this, I have that, and moving forward is between me and you going forward. Every day is a new day. Now, if that person starts asking about what happened, why this, why that, I drop that like it's hot
Mhm.
because my past is nobody's business but my own.
Mhm.
At least that's my point of
The
view.
only thing, and they would have to have a certain skin in the game. I'm not just gonna tell you automatically something like that, but all you need to know is it didn't work out. And now here we are. And what about us? Is this going to be worth my time? For me, that's the only thing I think is important that a person knows is that didn't work out and now I'm here.
Hmm.
So that's all. But you shouldn't I remember when somebody I was really close to told me that you never tell your past whatever to anybody else.
No,
You
it's
never
none of
tell
their
people
business.
all those things because people will treat you and throw that in your face. Oh,
They
that
will hold it against you,
yeah, they'll
and
hold
it's
it against
not.
you and say, "Oh, I remember, and you're doing to me just what you did to your ex," and you're like, "That's exactly what I'm talking about." People will throw it in your face so bad. Be careful about telling whatever, you know.
You know, the only thing that I feel, at least for me, in a relationship, and I was in a very long term relationship. The only thing that I feel that is important for you to tell your partner is if you ever been in trouble with the law, right? Because that's something that it's not going to stay hidden for long. It comes to light one way or another. So I think that's the only important thing is, if you ever had any issues with the law, and briefly what it was. But when somebody that you start dating starts asking you, so who did you date it before? How many? And how long were you in
Yeah.
a relationship with that person? And why did it end up? And this and that. That's, you got to be careful there, because that's
Mhm.
obsessiveness. For me, if I start a new relationship, I'm starting a new relationship. You're right? New.
And I don't want to talk about the
And
past.
whatever that person did in the past, that's stays right there in the past. Now,
Mhm.
if this person has had a stalker and that lady or male man has turned into crazy town, has moved into crazy town, then you have to let that person know, because they can be repercussions from not.
Mhm.
But if nothing like that is happening, then nobody has the right to know your business. I feel that sometimes by disclosing every single detail about past relationships, you don't allow those things to recycle. You don't recycle them, they stay, and you start comparing your past
Yep.
to your present
Your present.
relationship.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So for me, is the past stays exactly there. Like, I don't care who you have dated, how many years, why did it ended up. What I care about is how you treat me, how good
Mhm.
you are to me, that you don't lie to me, that you don't cheat on me. That's all I care. Other than that,
For,
none of my business.
for me, Miss Nexie, the question that I always ask, you know, when you're dating somebody, what is the reason? Um, what is the reason why you're single?
Mm,
That's always the question that I want to know. What's the reason why? You know, and I can be honest. For me, one of my answers was I needed to be single to find out who I was.
mhm,
I needed to be single to heal
mhm,
from my past traumas. So for me, those are the questions that are important, not
mhm.
your ex. I want to find out who are you and what did you learn from your past.
Exactly. And again, and those questions are not asked on the first date, right? You don't want
No,
to
no,
meet
no,
the
no.
parents, you don't want to meet everybody in their lives. And again, y- if they cheated on someone or not, it has nothing to do with you, because if you go into a new relationship with their past on your back, then that on itself doesn't allow you to fully commit to the new relationship, because you're going to be wondering, is going to do it to me, is she's going to do the same thing to me, am I going to go through this through the ex or whatever. So you can't do that. You have to start again anew, not dragging the past with you, because that's exactly what it is. You drag it with you and you turn it into your present relationship, which is something that it's done, because the past is in the past. People change. People can change. And if that relationship that you finished before me taught you the greatest lesson of your life because you were cheating or whatever, then I'm happy because I'm gonna get a different person now. I'm more committed, or I'm more, cautious, or a more open
Mature.
minded, whatever, more mature
Mhm,
person. But again, when people cheat or backstab, they never take into account the damage that they do on the other person.
mhm. I was gonna, Miss Nexie, boy, you have the spidey sense.
Yes, I do.
You have the spidey sense, because I was just about to transition into that, talking about, because we always think about how the person who was the cheater, and we hyper fixate on that, and they were this, and they're a bad person. I can't believe they did that to me, or to whoever the person was. But we don't think also about the person. Why did that person cheat? Why did the
Hmm.
person leave? Like, I'm not making it as an excuse for it, but at the same time, we can't just be like, how, like, you see, like, some women and some men. It's no shade to anybody, but I'm being real and honest. You can't be like, look like a slob, look like a pig, and expects for somebody to be sexually attracted to you. You can't be like, you gained 100, 200 pounds, you don't fix your hair, you smell. It's just like, come on, people, be real. But we don't
Hmm.
want to have these real conversations and say that. Nobody wants to be with somebody who it doesn't keep themselves self up and look pretty and beautiful and respect. You have to respect your body for somebody to be attracted to you.
And Miss Marlene, you can gain weight. Don't forget to beautify yourself. Do
Right.
it for you. You don't do it for anybody else. That's the whole thing that I always tell people. The whole point that I wanted to make, and I always tell people, I'm sorry, is that when you do these things, when you beautify yourself, whether you have gained a lot of weight or not, and I'm not, you know, uh, shaming anyone, body shaming anyone, because we all have gained weight as we get older or whatever, for one thing or another. But if you do, don't forget that you are beautiful. Get yourself pretty up for you. It makes you feel better. It makes you um um it elevates your hormones. It makes you feel, even if you have gained a few pounds, as long as you don't let yourself completely go,
Mhm.
just
Well,
just
you know what I would
maintenance.
say? You know what I would say to that, Miss Nexie? I think, and this is probably weird or controversial, but I'm just Marlene. I think a woman or a man, you have to first feel sexy to want sex. I don't
Yes.
know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not
One
thinking like other
SEX, you
people
mean?
think, but for me, you have to feel good within yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. And beautifying yourself, and I don't mean go to a beauty shop every day, right? A beauty salon every
No.
day.
Mm-mm.
No, I mean, get yourself, bathe and comb your hair and put nice, cologne, lotion, whatever,
Yeah.
perfume, whatever you want. Just make yourself feel good for you. In return, because you
Mhm.
already feel good about you, you're going to be able to reciprocate whatever
Yeah.
the other, your partner wants and
Mhm.
feels for you. Again, a lot of times when somebody cheats on us, we feel like it's our fault, right? We're at fault.
Mhm.
What didn't I do? Maybe I didn't do this. I didn't do that. It's not entirely your fault. It's not your fault,
Mhm.
because that action was taken by the opposite party, not you.
Right.
Right now, if you're the cheater, then that's different. But if it's done to you, like what we're discussing right now, backstabbing and cheating, if it's done
Mhm.
to you, it's their fault at 90% or
Mhm.
95%. But there's a 5%, like my therapist, who doesn't know anything, kind of, you know, put it on me. Like,
Miss
what
Nexie, I have the
contribution?
same feeling too. I remember my therapist says, "Yeah, but what did you do?" You're like,
Miss Marlene,
hello, is this
thank you.
mic on?
Yeah,
Hello.
thank you. No, no, no. Like the smacking of the lips. Is this thing not working?
Hello,
I'm hitting
you're
my
like,
lips right
hello,
now.
I'm the person paying you.
No,
This
no,
is
no.
not what I came here for.
I am the victim here, okay? And when I said I am the victim here, he just removed his glasses, like he downed them a little by the nose and
Right,
looked
this.
at, yeah, 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 there, that right there. He looked at me and I said, "Oh, I thought you guys were in a relationship together. Two people in a relationship together. So what did you contribute? What happened for the relationship to get this far?
Mhm.
For this person to have gotten out of in sync with you. It's two people in a relationship, and like you said, communication is key, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Time. We forget that before we became parents, we were
Mhm.
boyfriends and girlfriends, husbands and wives in a brand new marriage. We forget that because we get so caught up with
Busy.
the being parents, we forget to date. And
Being
yeah,
an adult. Mhm.
yeah, and it's a lot to take in when somebody tells you, so what role did you play for the relationship to go that way? And that hurts because
We don't
you're the
like it.
victim, because I'm
We
the
don't like it.
victim.
We want to stay in that victim, and we want to have a pity party and stamp our feet and say it's not my fault. I didn't do anything. It's them. It's them. The little kid, the toddler in us wants to have that, but um you have to look at both sides, and you know that when we have conversations and we have these podcasts, very important conversations, it's important to look at both sides. And yes, look at the side of the cheater and what they did in their role, but also you have to look at the person who was cheated on. Did they start slacking? And a comment that was here from Ben, he says, I take all the blame, but you're right. She wasn't perfect. She had a low sex drive and wouldn't compromise. The other girl knew this and used that to her advantage a bit.
It happens.
Hmm.
It ha-
It
and and again, it's a relationship of two people. Again, and a lot of
mhm,
times we get caught up with daily life, and
mhm,
sometimes we can ignore signs that are there. They tell us, hey, we haven't been out in a long time, or wow, or they see us dressed up and they're like, oh my god, I haven't seen you that look that beautiful in a long time. You don't catch it at the moment, but
mhm.
as when they cheat on you, you start going back in memory lane, right? And like, oh, I
Yep,
remember when he said that. Oh my god, I
yep,
remember. Then how long had it been then since the last time I got myself pretty up?
yeah,
It, it,
yeah.
it
Yeah, something that my mom used to say. No, that was my mom. That was my 102-year aunt used to say. She said, from time to time, you need to make your the person that you're with see as a woman that you actually do. You have legs. Show
yeah.
them some legs. Put some high heels on. Put some lipstick. Put your hair up. Look beautiful, and go out without them. Like they need to be like, wait a minute, you're looking good. Where are you going? Say,
Yeah, who you
don't
going
worry.
away?
Yeah, wait up for me. I'll be back.
Ooh, very smart. Very, very smart.
Give
But
them makeup. Wait, I'll be
yeah,
back.
but again, we're not taking full responsibility because the act that if we were the ones that had committed that act, then yeah, we do
Mhm.
take responsibility at 100%.
Right.
Even if a
Mhm.
therapist tells you it wasn't all your fault, you do feel like it's your fault 100%
Yeah.
because you were the perpetrator. But
Mhm.
if you're on the receiving end of that, most of the time, as you said before, you want to play the victim role because
Yeah.
it's a lot less painful to do that than it is to admit that you had something to do
To do
for
with it.
your significant other to go out to look for that particular thing
Exactly.
you were missing. Because again, as and I'm telling you, I'm a mother. I work outside the house, the home. I have children. I
Mhm.
had a husband. So we get caught up on that revolving door type of everyday
Mhm.
things that we forget. that our partners are there.
Yeah. And Miss Nexie, and I want to bring out something that my mom used to say to me. She's like, "You have your person." She said, "You have your kids, you got your, your career, you have your education, you have your friends." Okay. Mom said, "Good, fine. But also you need to spend some time and look at the person you're with and be like, you look handsome or you look beautiful. You need to have that connection. Even when the kids are saying, hold on, kids. Hey, honey, come here. Don't forget to, you shouldn't stop kissing each other. You shouldn't stop holding each other, holding hands. The affection and that connection needs to be there, even when you have children. And it's
Hmm.
important for your children to see that mom and dad still hold hands, we still kiss. And,
Hmm.
the kids aren't going to like it because even talking about it, thinking about my parents,
Ew.
and you're like,
Ew.
ugh, like just thinking that repulses me, thinking my parents, but whatever. Um,
But it's true
but
though.
it was something that I remember when I used to see my mom. Used to always be like, "Don't leave the house." Mom would be like, "Excuse me, sir, where are you going?" And my dad used to be like, "What?" He's like, "You're not leaving here without my kiss."
It's true.
And I used to be like, "Ew." But
Ew.
now I understand what my mom was saying. You're gonna go through a whole day. That needs to be the last thing you think about. That
Hmm.
the person you're with cares about you and loves you. And I see that when that starts to break down, people stop showing affection. They don't spend time together. There's no dates, there's no calls in the middle of the day. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I think you're hot and stuff. It's just like, are you okay? How can I support you? It's a lot of dimensions to
Yes.
supporting one another to get to the point where you want to be intimate with them.
Exactly. And again, Miss Marlene, speaking from experience, right? In the beginning of what happened, all the blame was on that person. Oh, and I was happily leaving that lie. Oh, I was the victim, and oh my God, and he was the perpetrator. And I'm like, he's so mean, he's this, he's that. But once I started peeling off those layers, again, going down memory lane, kind of going into what you're just saying right now, I will start thinking, when was the last time I called him and said, "Hey, hon, I just wanted to say I love you"? Or when was the last time I sent an "I love you" text? Or when was the last time that I said that in the middle of the day, I just called them to find out how his day was going? Because you get so wrapped up in the pity party that you're having that
Right.
you don't want to acknowledge that you at one point dropped the ball.
Yep. Like
You-
like my mom would say, I'm not coming for ladies, and I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but from time to time, spruce up yourself, ladies, and
Mhm.
the same thing, vice versa, men. You know, put yourself together, put on a nice clothes, smell
Put
good.
on some twinkly lights like this tree over here. Get yourself up there. Hang a pine tree on you so that you can smell like Christmas. She'll be like, my Christmas present. No, you again. Now we can laugh about it. I can laugh because it's funny.
Mhm.
Like I said, we're the best of friends with my
Mhm.
ex-husband. We
Mhm.
have healed, after a very, very long time of
Mhm.
going through the pains of what happened. But we sit down and talk sometimes, and the first thing he always says is he apologizes for what happened, and
Mhm.
for damaging and messing up our family, our relationship, and everything. But I always tell him that things are always as they're supposed to. There's nothing we can do. This was meant to happen. Why, we don't know yet. And sometimes I even say, it was maybe supposed to happen to get us to the point where we can probably love each other more as friends as we were going to as husband and wife. I'm not saying that cheating is good. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that it doesn't damage you as a person. It does. It does a number on you when somebody cheats on you or somebody backstabs you.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that maybe if that would have not happened, we probably would be in a loveless marriage, in a
Mhm.
um I guess I'm already in my 60s, right? I guess I'm just going to stay until I go. Now
Exactly.
we love each other in a different way, right? Because again, he's the father of my children, and I love him for that, and I thank him for that. But I love him in a different way, and I can actually say that now. Before, I couldn't say it because I was hurt. But as
Yeah.
I worked on me, I can say I love him as a good friend, as my best friend, because that's what it is.
Love that.
He's my best friend because he's the father of my kids. We have a lot of years between us. A mistake destroyed the marriage, but it strengthened our friendship.
Mhm.
And
And that right there, Miss Nexie, is personal growth, because how many people after cheating can turn to be friends? Most of the time after that, it's over. There's no coming back.
y-
Um, but it takes maturity and a lot of healing. And
yes,
this comment from Ben says, "You both are really nice, really smart and nice, very insightful stuff. Appreciate the non judgmental environment." No problem, Ben. And Ben says, "Cheating isn't just hooking up or emotional cheating. Cheating is when you break the rules of the relationship. What do
mhm.
you both consider as cheating in a normal relationship?"
You're to the point. When I will consider cheating in a normal relationship if my husband's girl, just a friend, knows more about my husband's day to day or feelings than I do. I will consider that, cheating. If he's always on the phone with that person, you know what I mean? And telling her things that he should be telling me, going out for coffee, doing things like that. For me, that's cheating. Even if it isn't an sex UAL relationship, it's emotional cheating, right? Because you're doing with that person, with your friend, what you should be doing with me.
Hmm.
We're supposed to be the ones in this relationship. Problems that you have, I'm not saying you cannot discuss them with anyone else. You can, of course you can. That will
Hmm.
be unfair of me to say. But if you're going out of your way, and every week you go have coffee with your best friend, and you're over there telling her all of things that are going on in your life, and you shut me out of it, you don't want to discuss them at home, she knows more
Hmm.
of you, of your daily life than I do. That to me will be
Exactly.
considered cheating. I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah.
What
For
do you
for
think?
for me, um, I know you guys will think, because I'm a little bit from another planet, but I consider for
Sin
me,
comentario.
yeah, I consider for me, cheating for me starts with like attraction. For me, it's a person who can't keep their eyes on anybody. They have their eyes always roving. For me, that's a cheating,
Hmm.
and I can't stand it. It doesn't have to be. It's just like for me, a person who looks at pornography all the time.
It's
It,
disrespectful.
it's disrespectful, and for me, it only that's how you chip away at the relationship until it just disintegrates.
Hmm. And
It
not
start it
speaking about
starts
it.
it starts with the pornography. It's the oogling at another person. So it's just chipping away until when the opportunity seizes itself. Okay. Oh, I'm not doing anything. It's just porn. Oh, it's just this. Oh, it's just that. It's just this. And until one day when you meet somebody who will be willing to go there with
Oh,
you,
yeah.
then you're always gonna take that opportunity. So for me, that's what's cheating.
Hi, Shelly.
Hey,
Hi, Miss Shamika.
Shelly. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm
Oh my
good post hurricane. Um, so that's how it is for me. I can't speak for Miss Nexie or any other woman, but for me, I think cheating starts with it's in the little things because I believe that the little things lead to the big things.
God.
It starts with the okay going, the secretive, hey, let's meet up and have lunches together. Hey, I want to tell you the issues that I'm having in my relationship. Hey, I want to tell you about my past and what my parents used to do or my siblings used to do. So it's slowly drawing away, and then until one day it actually gets to the physical because I believe it builds. That's 100%. I believe it builds. Just a little bit, a little crumbs, little pieces until chunks, 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 and then it's over.
Exactly, and it's especially, and this is a lot of times. I think it's why my therapist said, Miss Marlene, you know, what role did you play on for this to have had happened? And sometimes when we stay quiet and we don't bring things that
Mhm,
bother us to the surface, whatever it is that is going to happen speeds up because we're not connecting. We're not talking, we're not saying much, we're just allowing it to happen. Even though it bothers us, our thing is, oh, we'll deal with it later. One of these days I'm going to sit down, I'm
mhm.
going to talk to him. Or you
Or
just get mad and say nothing.
or Miss Nexie, or one person wants to talk about it and the other one doesn't.
Oh,
And
yes.
that for me, that is automatic. I always raise an eyebrow when I want to talk about an issue we're having and they don't, and they never want to talk about it. And I'm like, if a person doesn't want to talk about the issues that we're having, okay,
Mm.
you're not talking to me. I know you're talking to somebody, whether it's your homeboys, whether it's your parents, but somebody has to be finding out about the issues and talking about it because you can't just hold in everything all the time. Hey, Robert,
Hi,
how are
Robert. And look at what Shelly says.
Oh, Shelley says porn desensitizes and leads to nothing good. That's what I was saying, Shelley.
But the one
And
before.
oh, the one before, you can cheat without the physical acts. Yeah, you sure can.
And
You sure can.
again, it's for me, and that's probably a great way to put it, Shelly, and is that for me, even if it the fact that I cannot get that picture out of my mind. It's not
Mhm.
that I saw it or anything. It's just that picturing, right? M-
Mhm.
my partner or somebody with that other person. That fact that I cannot get that out of my mind, that the thought of it's
Mhm.
why it had to end because I knew I was not going to
There
be
you
able to
go.
do. I was not going to be able to get it out of my mind. I knew I was always going to. Every time I saw that person, I was going to be thinking about what happened. So
Mhm.
it in this way, the way we, and I'm talking 14 years later, right? The way that we have dealt with it, especially, and I'm very grateful for that, is because he has given me all the time that I need to heal and come back to the point now where we can talk without getting angry, without wanting those 40 minutes underwater that I've been asking for, Miss Marlene. Um,
Yes.
I mean 40 seconds.
Oh, yeah, 40 seconds. That's what I heard. I heard 40 seconds.
I
Yeah.
will say 40 minutes underwater, but again,
Yeah, I
it's
said 40 minutes too, Miss Nexley. But for
tomato,
YouTube,
tomato,
but for
whatever.
YouTube to make this politically correct, we'll say 40 seconds.
Okay, okay, let's do that. And for me to, I knew that I was not going to be able to unsee that, even though I had not
Mhm,
seen it, but imagining that. So for me, now that we are
mhm,
14 years later, knowing that we can talk about what happened and we can put all the cards on the table and take responsibility, on both
Mhm.
sides, because it's not just a one-sided thing. That's the thing that a lot of times when you hear people talking about cheaters, they are relentlessly accusing and throwing rocks and calling
Yes.
them names, but we have to make it, you and I had to make it human,
Yes.
humanly possible, and humanely possible. And is that it's not just the one person's fault. You have to take, yeah, you didn't send them to cheat. I'm not saying you did. You didn't bet
Mhm.
him. You didn't do any of that. But there is a point in where the disconnection began and you didn't see
Yeah.
it. You didn't
Or,
address it.
and okay, say for instance, a person is telling you what they need all the time.
Hmm.
It goes back and forth. A person is saying they need quality time. They need some romance. They need they're not being sexually satisfied. They're telling you the things that they need, and if one person always discards it, I hate to say it,
Uh,
that but that opens the door, because
to a lot
are
of
if you're not like, okay, I care about how you feel, if you're just like, whatever, I'm tired, leave me alone, go away, and then, oh, you cheated on me.
or they telling you you need a vacation alone and you're saying, but I don't want to leave the kids. I'm not saying I said that, but I'm saying I said that.
I'm not saying you said that,
But I did.
but I'm saying you said that.
Yeah, exactly. Constantly, they're telling you, hey, we should have some, some us time. Yeah, but the kids, no, let's take them. Yeah,
Mhm,
oh, okay, if you want to. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
you're constantly, and,
Miss
and that's
Nexie, here's the thing, it grinds my gears. I can't speak for all ladies. I'm speaking just for Marlene, for myself. But one thing, it's like when you're in a relationship and you tell somebody what you need, something you're going through, something that's important to you, and they're just
dismissive.
oh, you always talking about that, or that's irritating. Can we talk about something else? If something is important to the person you're in a relationship with, it should not be discarded. It shouldn't
Exactly.
be like it should be something like, and if you it can't be exactly what they want, you should be willing to sit down and come to a compromise,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Come to a compromise and say, "You know what? Uh, how about how about 2 times? How about 3 times? How about we'll do a quality time, and then we'll do something." It can't just be what one person wants in a relationship. And I think that tends to be the issue, when one person only thinks about that they want to be happy and satisfied, but they don't think about the wife or the girlfriend, or it's vice versa, or the boyfriend or husband. They're not thinking about each other's wants, needs, desires, all of those things, because I can only speak on a woman's level, like, being a wife, being a mother, having a family, doing this, doing that, and it's and you go through a lot, trying to process, you're trying to keep a home, you're trying to work, you're trying to do, and you know, the, not saying sex is not important, Miss Nexie, but it goes very low down on the priority list when you got a
Yes.
kid, up all night vomiting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When you have a when you have to go to work, when you've been exhausted, or don't even talk about when you're having your menstrual cycle. So it's a lot of things that some, I'm not saying all men, I'm just saying sometimes if a man doesn't go through those things and they don't understand about the menstrual cycle, and just working and keeping a house, if you don't have somebody who's compassionate to those things, like, okay, I know you're not feeling good, you're tired, do you want to get away, do you need a vacation, how can I assist you? But when it's just like, oh, you're always talking about, or all women have their period, when it's that sort of attitude,
Mm-hmm.
I can't deal with that. And and also vice versa too. Ladies, we also have to think about the needs of a man. You also
Mhm.
have to think, they have emotions too. We can't discard, like, if they're trying to tell you something, oh, yeah, 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 okay,
Mhm.
whatever. We'll talk about that later, or that's not important, or that's stupid. We can't do that either.
We
So
can't.
it goes on both sides,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen. We both need each other's needs, wants, their feelings, and we need to communicate that we're important to each other. It should be shown on both sides.
And yeah, exactly, Miss Marlene. And again, we when we talk about things like this, they're not easy, especially for
Mhm,
someone that has been on the receiving side of that, of what we're talking about, which is the, cheating and backstabbing. Is not easy. But at the same
mhm,
time, believe it or not, you grow as a person when things like this happen to you.
you do.
And when you the one thing I knew I did in when this happened is that I didn't tell the I did only my two best friends knew what was happening. None of my family members or his family members knew that we were going
Mhm,
through separation, that we were having trouble. None of them knew. And I only said it to two people, the two people that I trusted and knew that they knew me. They were not going to say anything. They were just going to listen. Because a lot of
mhm.
times in this process, we're quick to jump into, oh my God, leave him, he's this, he's that, or leave her, she's this, she's that. And we disregard that the person that is going through needs the time to process what's
Yep.
happened. There are wonderful people out there that have made mistakes and they have stuck together and they are having the best time of their lives right now because they have been able to get past that hurt. So when you listen to others chime in on your pain, sometimes you make the wrong decisions. So for
Yep.
me, it was important to just have a few people, like I said, my two best friends that knew what was
Mhm.
happening. They were allowing me to process, and I make the decision that I made based on my feelings,
In
not
your
what
time.
everybody in my time, and not what everybody else was saying.
Mhm.
Because sometimes if somebody can be forgiven and that person can move on, sometimes your chiming in disrupts that process and you
Exactly.
split up two beautiful couples, a beautiful couple that can continue on because they're not you. So
Mhm.
when you're telling them your problems and they start chiming in on, you he's this, he's that, you should do this, you should do that, sometimes you get confused. So
Mm.
it's always important that when you have a friend like that, just listen to them. Just be there
Yep.
for support, moral support. Do not involve family. Please,
Yep.
people, keep
Please
family immediate and
keep your
extended
business to
second.
yourself.
Do not
Mhm.
involve your children on the matter
Exactly.
because it has nothing to do with them. It's between you and their dad. You know what I mean? If you don't have kids, that's fine. But if you do, don't involve them. It has nothing to
Mhm.
do with them. If they ever find out, let them find out on their own and make their own conclusions of the problem.
Yep.
Don't put your 2 cents in their little brain because that is their other parent. If
Yep.
you start putting crap in their mind, they're gonna resent you
Mhm.
eventually
For the rest of their life.
for the
For the
rest of their lives, for the
Yep.
rest of your life too. So for
Yep.
me, it's important that you do the things that you're supposed to do with a clear head and a cold heart. And which
Yep.
is why for us, I didn't want to get divorced when I was angry because
Very
I knew I
important.
was going to make mistakes with the lawyers and everything. I was going to probably damage, that little of that relation that I could salvage. So I told them, give me time to process this. When I have a clear head and a cold heart, meaning I don't feel anything, any resentment, any anger, anything like that, then we can start the process. You know what I mean? Like, you have to think of you. Don't rely on somebody else's opinions.
Yeah,
They're
'cause
your own.
you have to know how you feel, and also what people don't know on the outside. Even if you could tell people, okay, this person cheated on me, blah blah blah, but people forget to leave out, I had been letting myself go. I wasn't really listening to him. We didn't spend time together. People leave out a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
they punch a lot of holes in the story. There's a lot of missing pieces, and they just talk about what they did, but they don't talk about what they do. And I want to acknowledge this comment. Shelly says, if only they would leave before moving on, so to speak. And that's something that I have a lot of respect for somebody who knows, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not working. I know what I'm about to do. I have a connection with this other person, and before I do something that's disrespectful to you, I'm gonna say, let's cut ties, because before I go and do something disrespectful to me. And I have a lot of respect for somebody who says it's not working,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm ready to move on. And even though that hurts, if somebody says it's time to move on, at least they did not cheat on you.
Yep. And Shelly, you are so right. It says, I will say it depends on the situation. Most women can't truly forgive that. And that is so true. I knew that I was not going to be able to just move on and like nothing happened, which is why we, decided to split up. I said, I can't do this. And instead of wasting time on the what ifs and probably resenting him even more later on in life, moving on for me was, splitting up was the best way for me to move on.
Mhm,
Because I know myself. I can't forgive that. And I'm not saying once a cheater, always a cheater. That's not what I'm saying. Like,
mhm,
for me, it was, I knew I was not going to be able to just, you know, be happily ever after that, because
mhm.
my trust was crushed. It was
Um,
gone. You know what I mean? So I knew it. So yeah, but there's women out there that can do that.
yeah. Ben asked a question: is cheating ever reconcilable, or do you always have to break up? That for me, Ben, that depends on the person, but for me, it depends on the extent of it. Is it was it a one-time thing, or was it a relationship? Is it something that happened multiple times, or was it a one-time thing where you got caught up in it? And I really don't know what I could say about that, but I feel on two opinions. I feel like if it was something that happened and I already knew the breakdown, things were happening between us, maybe you've already separated, there's been distance, a one-time thing, but a whole relationship that you've been together multiple times, no, there's no coming back from that part.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, Miss Marlene. Can you?
I hear
Okay.
you.
My camera is not working for some reason, but
It's okay.
uh, yeah, no, for me, exactly, Miss Marlene. For me, you know, physical cheating, I guess I should say that. Physical cheating is something I cannot forgive. We can talk about, if you are talking to your friend more than talking to me, I can address that. I can say, hey, 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 that has to stop because it's bothering me. But physical, that connection with the other person physically is something that I cannot forgive. And I mean, I can forgive, I cannot forget it. So if for
Mhm,
me, it was more like I have to get out because I know that
mhm,
resentment is going to form, and I'm going to start resenting and making him pay, in the marriage, because that's what happens. And
mhm,
then you end up older, unhappy, and you didn't enjoy your youth because you were stuck on this relationship. So no, I didn't want to do that. I knew I was not going to be able to move past that. So it was better to let go.
mhm. Miss Nexie, we have some very interesting comments in the chat. Robert says withholding sex in a relationship is a big thing. And Shelley says withholding sex indicates a bigger problem. So,
Yes.
Miss Nexie, let's get into talking about this a little bit before we end today's topic. Withholding sex. What do you think about that? And then I'll chime in my point.
I have never, again, I haven't had that much experience. I was married for a very long time. So I've never done that. I don't know. I don't even know how you do that per se. But speaking from hearing other people talk about withholding it because their partner didn't do this, didn't do that, or because they didn't buy them what they wanted, so they're like holding their drive, hostage until they get what they want. Hearing that, for me, it does indicate a deeper problem, and it's childish. I feel, for me, I feel that, if two grown adults are in a relationship, and they don't have the need, or they don't want to be with the other person, and they're withholding it because they don't feel the desires or whatever, they have to talk about it. Withholding it is not going to help. It's not going to solve anything. um so for me, again, that's childish. I've never done that. I've never experienced that, so I'm just talking from the point of view of an adult that I am.
Hmm. What I would say withholding sexy because of different things and people that I've been around, I have a different perspective on it because it's coming from a toxic relationship where there's a lot of verbal abuse, where there's a lot of like you don't feel safe, you're, you know, putting their hands on you and all those things. It's different, but not when it comes to a loving relationship. I feel like it should be something you should want to talk about it, because if you get to the point in a relationship where you don't feel like you want to have intimacy with the person you're with, there's some issues there. And most of the time, a lot of women don't like to talk about this. Miss Nexie is going to be like, um, a lot of women don't like to talk about things like, you're not satisfying me, you're satisfying yourself. And sometimes a man doesn't want to hear that. And a lot of women don't want to say those things. Is like the male stimulation. They're happy. They're getting their rocks off. They're getting everything that they need out of the sexual, encounter. But the woman is not being satisfied. So that's something that a lot of women don't want to say because they're scared to say it. It makes them feel uncomfortable, but it's something important. And that's the reason sometimes why a woman will cheat, is because she doesn't have the intimacy. And there's completely two different things between sex and intimacy. So, and I think for me personally, that most women won't say exactly what they need. A lot of women are afraid to speak up and say, "This is how I need to be pleased."
Y- you know um I'm reading the chat, and um Shelly says, "Mom told me to keep my man happy because he will seek out what's missing in the relationship." Now, that is very interesting, because I've heard that being said before. I think I was told that once, or 100 times, by by my mom, and I've heard it from others too. But for me, is it's it I guess it's difficult to see that point of view because it has to be a both ways type of act. Meaning, if I'm going to keep him happy, I want him to keep me happy. It's not, you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be just I mean that's the way I think, right? That's the way I think. And a lot of times, even if you are, you know, in the mood, or you want to be romantic and you want to do things, sometimes there's things that happen in between the time, um between the act, that discourages you. Like you said, it's not listening to me, it's not paying attention to what I'm saying. By the time the intimacy is to happen, your heart is not in it. You know,
Mhm.
you don't even want to go there. You're not, you know what I mean? Like, so I
Hold
always
on,
felt,
hold on a second, Miss Nexie. I
yeah.
just want to interject this before the thought goes out of my mind. A lot of times, women are afraid to say this, and I've said it before. I'm no problem saying it to any man, and I've said it to clients in counseling services. You have to remember, you have to stimulate a woman's mind before you can stimulate her body,
Mm,
because if she emotionally is not there, if emotionally she's distraught about something, the last thing she's going to care about is sexual intimacy. She don't care.
mhm,
It doesn't matter whatever you want and you're complaining. If she's carrying a heavy weight until she feels comfortable and relaxed, she's not going to be interested. So first you got to work on stimulating her mind and making her feel supported before
mhm.
she's going to be interested in intimacy. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, but and Miss Marlene, it's actually, I remember, my father. He was talking to one of his friends, and we're older already, we're married, so they were having a conversation, and my father, because I think his friend was complaining something about his wife. Then, oh yeah, I think it was something like, now that the kids are here, she doesn't care if I'm happy, or she doesn't want to do anything, blah blah blah. And my father said to him, um oh no, he said, I think she's probably gonna be, is either cheating on me or is gonna cheat on me, I'm not sure, but she's not interested in, when I want to be intimate with her. So my father said, don't think like that. He said, because
Oh, Miss Nexie, your mic went out. Hello?
oh no, can you hear me?
Oh, it's back. It's back now.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Well, my father said, you have a guitar, don't you? Yeah. He says, yeah. He says, okay. Think of a woman as a guitar. A woman has to be touched lovingly and softly, with your heart, with your mind, with your words, with everything. If you come home and the first thing you say coming from work is, why is this effing house so dirty? Why are these kids so noisy? Why is this? Why is that? What is this what we're having for dinner? It says a woman is like a guitar. You have to touch her softly. You have to bring the music out of her. It's not gonna play by itself. So if you come home disrespecting, yelling, why are you expecting intimacy, love, and attention at night? And his friend was like, he's like, my guitar. He's like, yeah, you love your guitar. I've seen you play your guitar. Touch your wife the same way, with your words, with your love, with everything. And I can guarantee you, he says, that she is going to be willing and wanting whatever it is that you want. But if you come, the minute you walk in that door, you're disrespecting her, you're yelling, you're doing all kinds of, don't expect anything back in return. And I was like, huh, he is a little wisecrack. But it is true. Women
It
don't
is true.
cheat just because they want. You know what I mean? Something is touching that part of them, that is wanting that, that's why they do it. It's
Mhm.
not just that, oh, I'm going to get back at him. I want to do that. No, something is, you know, is not being satisfied at home. Same
Yep,
goes for men. Maybe they're not in the same category as women, but the same thing goes.
yep,
It's
there's something missing.
exactly. And we have to,
Mhm.
a lot of times, we take each other for granted. And I'm saying this
Yes.
from experience, Miss Marlene. We take our partners for granted. I did it. My husband, my ex husband did it. We all do it. We forget that we were a couple in love with each other before we had the rest of the gang. And we forget that part. And once you get into parent mode and you forget that, there's a lot of things that go missing in your relationship, and you don't realize them until one asks you for a divorce or one cheats on you. You know what I mean? So we cannot just say is the other person's fault, because I'm not faulting my husband. I mean, I was, till my therapist brought it up. I was faulting him. He was the worst person in the world. But I had to acknowledge that I didn't do something in the relationship.
Mhm.
Some way, somewhere I dropped the ball. So it
Exactly.
wasn't just
Exactly.
him, because like my therapist said, so he's the only one in the relationship. You haven't been living there for the past
Yeah.
20 years. And a lot of times that's the hardest part, Miss Marlene. It's acknowledging that you messed up too. That
Mhm.
it's not just the other person. Is that
Yeah.
it is your fault too.
Yeah. And also one thing that a lot of times, as women, we forget to do to the man that you're with. We always think about the man has to be tough and he has to make the money and he got to be
Mm-mm.
strong. But are you allowing him to have a safe place to fall, to express his feelings? Do you tell him you're proud of him? Just as women, we want to be acknowledged. Men want to be acknowledged as well.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading Robert's comment.
Yeah, go ahead, read it.
Oh, man. You have to. I can't. I can't. But it's true. Robert's so true. So when you get it home, it's on and popping. And it's true. Sometimes we are like, we forget that we're not robots, right? We have feelings, we have needs, we have sometimes just the need to cuddle. We don't have to do anything. Just be there. Just cuddle. You don't have to go anywhere else if you don't want to. But you have those needs, and sometimes, again, because of life or whatever, you forget.
Mhm.
And when you're just blaming the other person for backstabbing you or betraying you, um putting yourself in their shoes is the hardest thing you can do, but the wisest thing too, because you grow at the same time. You learn to understand that for this person to get to that point, something very big was missing in that relationship.
Exactly, Miss Nexie. That's something that a lot of women don't like to say. But I'm gonna put the fellas up on game. Free lesson. This is free. Your only free lesson. I'm gonna say. Women want to have their hands held. They want to be able to be cuddled. They want to be told that they're pretty. That you still think they're beautiful, even though women be like, "I know I'm beautiful," but we want to hear it. You want to hear it. You want to hear that they're doing a good job if they're a mom. You want to hear that you're proud of them. We need to hear that. And the same thing, vice versa, ladies. Tell your man you're proud of them, that you're a good man, you're a good provider, you're whatever it is that they do. They
Hmm.
need to hear that too. They need that acknowledgement. And sometimes we forget that part.
Hmm.
So, Miss Nexie, we could go on for the next
All
two
night.
more. We could talk all night about this topic. It's a really good one, but I did want to say, um to anybody, you know, have the communication. If you're in a relationship, have the communication. don't stop communicating just because you're upset. And that's something that sometimes us as ladies we do. Sometimes gentlemen do it too. You kind of go silent, don't want to talk about it because it's a hard conversation, but you have to talk your way through. You have to communicate because trust me, my mother told me this. I remember when I got my first relationship. You may not want to talk about things, but listen, if you don't want to talk about it with them, somebody will be, oh, yeah, you could talk to me about it. There's always somebody in the background say, come on over here.
Yeah.
Come on over here. So have those conversations with the person that you care about and work on the relationship if it can be salvaged. If not, then, don't hurt another person. If you feel that the relationship has had its course, um, respect yourself and respect the other person and say, you know what, it's time for us to part ways. All
Mhm.
of those things. So, final words, Miss Nexty?
Um, f- I will say just, I mean, ditto what she said. But most importantly is, make sure that the decisions that you're making when something like this happens to you are decisions that you are making, whether it's breaking up, whether it's salvaging the relationship, whether it's going to time out, whatever it is. Make sure that is both of your decisions to do this, that you're doing it for the right reasons. And if you can, seek therapy, couples therapy. If you're going to salvage this, make sure you go to therapy, because you have a better chance of being a loving and healthy relationship again after something like this happens. But if you, after going through the pros and cons, and yeah, write a list of the pros and the cons from your point of view, not from a relationship. The pros and cons are so that you can make certain that the decision that you're about to make is the right decision for you. That's it. And cheaters are not evil. They're not me. They're nothing. We're talking about things like this with Miss Marlene from a different perspective. We
Yes.
don't bully, we don't
No.
disrespect, and we don't criticize. This is an open forum with a lot of respect and a lot of love for
Yeah.
whoever comes our way. Thank you, Miss Marlene, for having me.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Miss
everyone.
Nexie. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate every single person. Thank you guys for your support, your comments, all of those things. It makes the sip and chat so wonderful. Shout out to all my amazing mods that hold it down. Thank you for keeping the chat clean and for reminding people to hit the like, thumbs it up. If you guys have not already, hit the like, subscribe to this channel, turn on your notifications. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much, replay loved ones. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. You know what we do over here. You know, this is Love Marlene 411, where we do talk about all of the love things, the love we have for ourselves, your children, spouse or significant other, your friends, all in hopes that when we learn to love ourselves and heal ourselves, we can be better at loving others. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys back on the next one. Thank
And
you.
hit on that link that our realist one left. Please follow
Yes,
him. He's an amazing individual. He wants all of us to follow him there for your support. Click that
yes.
link. Bye, Miss Marlene. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thanks for having
you.
me.
You're welcome. Yes, follow Realist One here. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to all my channel members. We'll be doing a channel a member only live next week. Next week. No, not next week. Next week is Miss Nexty. Next week is the holiday.
Yes, ma'am.
Next week is
We
the
can't
holiday.
do a
So
tip and chat because I'll be stuffing my face.
yeah. What I was thinking is we may change the date.
Okay.
So instead of Thursday, we'll talk about it. I'll put it on the community tab. We're not going to skip a whole week of the sip and chat. So
No.
it may be like it may be Wednesday or it may be Saturday or something. One of those
No,
days.
no, no, no. It has to be Saturday. Do you know how much beef I'm gonna have from the we're gonna
Oh,
talk
Miss
about what happened at our
Mexi.
dinner tables. It has to be Saturday.
It has to be Saturday then, guys. So there you have it. It's going to be Saturday, next Saturday. Stay tuned.
Yes, we'll let you know the time. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Happy
guys. Bye
Thanksgiving.
bye.
God bless all of you. Have a great time and eat up. No
Yeah.
diets next this
Yeah.
Thursday. This coming up.
What diet? Miss Nexie, I've been eating. Don't you see? I've been eating already.
Oh, you don't gotta see me. I'm not gonna show you me yet. But have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We love you all. Thank you for joining us today. Love you, Miss Marlene.
Love you
Talk later.
more. Bye, guys.
Bye.